Navigating zoning laws is crucial for property developers, as these regulations directly affect what can be built, where, and how. Zoning laws vary widely across cities and states, making it essential to understand the most common rules that could influence your project. Here are the top 10 zoning laws every property developer should know about. 1. Residential zoning, R-zone. Residential zoning restricts land use to housing purposes. Within this category, different designations like R1, R2, and R3 specify the types of residences allowed, such as single-family homes or multi-family dwellings. Familiarity with these designations ensures developers can match their projects to the right residential classifications. 2. Commercial zoning, C-zone. Commercial zoning permits the development of business properties, including retail stores, offices, and restaurants. Zoning classifications may further subdivide into areas for specific commercial uses, such as neighborhood or shopping districts, which influence building types and business operations allowed in a specific area. 3. Industrial zoning, I-zone. Industrial zoning regulates land used for manufacturing, warehouses, and heavy industrial purposes. Some cities impose restrictions on types of materials or activities allowed in industrial zones to limit noise, pollution, or heavy traffic. Developers must consider these restrictions if working on projects involving industrial properties. 4. Mixed-use zoning. Mixed-use zoning allows for a blend of residential, commercial, and sometimes industrial developments within a single area. This zoning type is increasingly popular for urban developments, as it promotes sustainable city designs and community integration. Understanding mixed-use zoning is beneficial for developers looking to combine housing with amenities in high-demand areas. 5. Agricultural zoning. Agricultural zoning restricts land primarily to agricultural and farming use. While it may seem irrelevant to urban developers, agricultural zones sometimes sit adjacent to growing cities and can become prime targets for rezoning and future development. Developers should monitor agricultural zoning in rapidly expanding cities. 6. Height and bulk zoning restrictions. Many municipalities have specific regulations on building heights and bulk to maintain city aesthetics and safety. These rules can restrict the number of floors a building may have or its overall footprint, which can significantly impact a project's design. Developers should confirm height and bulk limits early in the planning process. 7. Historical preservation zoning. Historical preservation zoning is enforced to protect buildings and areas with historical or cultural significance. In these zones, strict guidelines dictate changes to building exteriors, and demolition may be prohibited. Developers should review these guidelines to avoid fines or delays when working near or within historic districts. 8. Parking and transportation zoning requirements. Parking regulations, often part of zoning laws, outline the number of parking spaces required for residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. Developers in urban areas should be aware of parking requirements, as meeting these can be challenging and costly, especially for large projects or high-density developments. 9. Environmental zoning restrictions. Environmental zoning protects sensitive ecological areas, like wetlands, coastal zones, or floodplains. Regulations might restrict certain types of construction or mandate specific environmental studies. Developers should assess the environmental designations of land to understand restrictions and obtain the necessary permits. 10. Incentive zoning. Incentive zoning encourages developers to include community benefits, such as affordable housing or green space, in exchange for zoning bonuses like increased density or building height. Familiarity with incentive zoning can help developers maximize their projects while also providing value to local communities. Understanding these top zoning laws enables developers to make informed decisions, streamline the approval process, and ensure compliance, all while avoiding costly setbacks. Navigating zoning restrictions and opportunities effectively can be the difference between a smooth development project and one filled with regulatory roadblocks.